Hello everyone, my name is Mer Cy and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to discuss on how to take care of our succulents indoor. Yes, mga besh, we're going to talk succulents indoor and how to take care of them. And also, cold season or flu season is coming now. So we are putting our succulent, those who cannot tolerate fruits or cold season inside our house. So in this video, we will discuss on how to take good care of them while they are indoor. So if you would like to know more, kindly watch this video until the end. So, before we begin to venture in the world of succulents, I would like to discuss some basic tips on how to take care of succulents, especially those are indoor succulent plant. In this video, I will discuss some basic guide to take care of succulents, like what kind of pots is best for succulents, what is the best soil to use for succulents, how often do we need to water our indoor succulents, and how often to apply fertilizer for the succulents. Also, how much sunlight the indoor succulent needs, what is the common pest we need to look after in our indoor succulents, and how to deal with it, and also when is the best time to repot our indoor succulents. So if you are ready, let's get started. First, we need to discuss what kind of pots is best for our succulents. When choosing the best pot for succulent, there are three main elements to consider. These are drainage, material, and size. So choosing a pot or a planter is an exciting time, and we can often get carried away by wanting to choose the prettiest or the most stylish pot. So drainage is the best and foremost things you need to consider when choosing the best type of pot for succulents. Make sure you choose a pot with drainage hole. This is a very important. But if you find that you are totally in love with a planter that doesn't have drainage holes, then this can easily be fixed. All you need to do is get yourself a diamond drill bit and do the trick of putting the hole in it. Or you may put some big stones or any material like styrofoam at the bottom of the pot before putting your soil to let the water stay at the bottom in a semi-hollow space. The next thing we need to consider is material of the planter. Ceramic pots or clay pots are usually a popular choice, as it is breathable material and can work indoor and outside as well. Not to mention, ceramic pot has often have an eye-catching styles and colors. Another choice you can opt is for plastic. This is a very convenient and cheap and readily available from almost any home or DIY or gardening store. The affordable materials also comes in a range of colors and patterns. Our next choice of material has to be wood. This is a great material if your succulent is often in hot, dry condition, as it can retain water and can last long time. The only downside is that wooden pots may begin to rot after a while, which can affect your succulents. However, this can be easily solved by lining your pot with plastic sheets before potting, but always remember, do not forget to put a hole in it for the drainage. Some succulents types also thrive in a glass container like terrariums. And lastly, you need to think about the size of the pot you get for your succulents. It is important to note of this, as your succulent will need room for natural growth. Use a pot size that is not too small and not too big for your plant. The next question we need to tackle is, what is the best soil to use for succulents? Well, we need to get a soil that holds just right amount of water. Too little or too much will do damage to your plant. So when purchasing or doing your do-it-yourself soil, there are some main ingredients that we need to know or we need to consider. Organic matter is a must. Have for any succulent to thrive like peat moss or ground bark. You can make your own potting soil mix by yourself. What I'm using is 40% of succulent and cactus soil mix, and then I will add 30% of humus and 30% of perlite to make it a well-drained soil. Next, we need to think is how often do we need to water the indoor succulents. Watering is such an important part of succulent care, especially for beginners. Succulent absorb water and barely need watering, and that is correct. But it doesn't mean you can neglect totally your succulent plant. Always keep this in mind that overwatered succulents will rot the root and cause your plant to die, while underwatering will let it dry out and cause its own common succulent problem, and suddenly it will die as well. It is best to use the soak and dry method for watering, which I'm using sometimes if I have ample of time to do it. So what to do is soak your succulent plant thoroughly with water and then wait until the soil is completely dry before you water again. You may also use a watering bottle or watering can or container for watering. Just make sure do not put any water on the leaves of your succulent. Because succulents came in all different types and varieties, I can't advise how often you should water your succulent. I can only advise that you wait until the soil is completely dry before re-watering. As a guide, indoor succulent will need to be watered on average of every 10 to 13 days. A top succulent care tips regarding watering is only water the soil. If water is left on the succulent leaves for too long, it will begin to rot or might invite insects or pests. Next common question is how often to apply fertilizer for the succulents. Well, many people have a misconception and think that succulents doesn't need fertilizer. Yes, the soil will give your plants most of the nutrients and it needs, but for your succulents to really thrive and boost growth, it will benefit from fertilizer. You should make sure that your fertilizer is low nitrogen and water soluble. The best thing to do is to buy cactus and succulent specific fertilizer for your local gardening shop, and this will usually be good enough. But if you are looking for do-it-yourself fertilizer, like using a coffee ground or banana peel for succulent fertilizer will be a good option. You may give food to your succulents every 3 to 4 months up to 6 months. You apply fertilizer in the summer or spring or just before or during the growing season. Because applying fertilizer during their dormant season or not in their growing season is just a waste of time. Next, we need to think is how much sunlight the indoor succulents need. Succulents originate from hot countries that have long dry periods. That's why they are excellent in storing water. Succulents are popular because they can survive in almost all weather conditions, but you'll need your plant to have as much sunlight as possible. Most succulents will need a minimum of 4 hours sunlight a day, and you should place them in a spot where they can get enough light. but too much direct sunlight in the warmer months can cause sunburn, where you will notice scars on their leaves. Some succulents will still thrive in low light. However, you don't want to keep your succulents in a room that is too dark or without much sunlight. This will cause the plant to stretch out in trying to reach light sources. The process is called etiolation. If you notice that your plant is becoming very tall but the leaves are spaced out, this is a clear sign that your succulents need more sunlight. Colorful succulents will also revert back to being green if they don't get enough sunlight. So, as a rule, make sure your succulents are getting at least 4 hours of sunlight a day, and also in a warmer months, make sure this light is indirect. If your place doesn't get enough sunlight or no sunlight at all, you may use a grow light as a substitute. Next common question that cross our mind is, what are the common pests we need to look after in our indoor succulents and how to deal with it? The most common forms are mealybugs, aphids, and spider mites. Eliminating this pest from your plants can be tricky, as well as they are so small and live in closed spaces. This means that your houseplant succulent could have pests for a while before you begin to notice anything strange. It is important to inspect your succulents regularly. I have a video on how to eradicate mealybugs and aphids, so I will drop the link for you to watch it, or you can check it on my channel. Although these are the most common type of pest, another annoying bug can be fungus gnats. These are fairly harmless and are similar to fruit flies. Also, watch out for the fungal infection to your plant, and you need to deal with it right after you discover the infection. Last common question is, when is the best time to repot our succulents? Although succulents are low maintenance and will only need repotting once every few years, it is important that you know the basic. First off, when to repot succulents. Succulents are usually placed in a small, tight pot before they like to be cozy. However, you don't want to end up restricting the growth. Check your pot regularly, and if the roots are growing out on the drainage holes, then it's the time to repot. Another clear sign that you need to repot your succulent is when the plant topples over the pot. You need to repot your succulents on average of every 2 years. This is to ensure adequate room for growth, as well as refreshing the soil and fertilizer with fresh nutrients. You should repot succulents during growth season. It is during summer and spring, as this reduces the risk of damage and heightens the chances of survival. Also, make sure that when you are repotting succulents, you are only going one size up. Repotting will ensure your succulents stay healthy and replenished. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something, and if you enjoyed this video, kindly share it with your friend. And if you have your own tips and tricks on how to take care of your succulent indoor, kindly drop your comment down below. We are happy to learn more new things and stuff for us to be successful in taking care of our plants. So bye bye for now. I hope to see you next time. Happy planting wishes!